Related question though, why only 5 days a week? Why not on Mondays and Tuesdays?
We did.
Does anyone know?
Yeah, it's a pilot program, right? So we're going to see what works. So we're announcing it today, and we can start it on Wednesday, which was as quickly as we could get it started, and we'll go for several days and see how it goes. And if we, like the governor said, see that people are seeing a line and bypassing it, then we'll make adjustments. So we're trying to see what works.
This is the plan, just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Different hours, different stations to see how it works and where it works. Is it better on a weekend? Is it better on a weekday? Is it better in the morning? Is it better at night? Is it better in a busier station? Better at a slower station? So this will give us more data on where it works better.
Governor, on subway safety, we hear a lot of verbal barbs back and forth between you and the mayor. Would it help if you and the mayor and the good chairman sat together and try to figure this out? And why has that not happened?
This has been an ongoing conversation for years. And there is a philosophical difference. I see crime in the subways as a major problem. I believe the solution to the crime in the subways is more police in the subways. I believe that. And I have said that. We did an MTA hiring of more MTA police 2 years ago, which was unheard of because the NYPD are charged with doing protection in the subways. I believe you're not going to bring back the New York City economy until you bring back the transit system. I believe people are anxious when they're now in the subway system. It is irrefutable, but that there are serious crimes in the subway system. It is irrefutable that there are emotionally disturbed people in the subway system who can do violence and have done violence. It's irrefutable that there's been a degradation of the situation in the stations, Penn Station, etc. I think the answer is more police, which I believe we showed during the period of time where we didn't do the 24-hour close down. And that gave a period of time for the police to do an intensive effort with social workers and bring people to safe shelters to get the help they need. I fundamentally disagree. I've done more work with the homeless population than probably any elected official, certainly who's ever served as governor, right? I started in my 20s running not-for-profits, and then I did it for 8 years for the nation as housing secretary. This concept that, well, we're doing the homeless a favor, letting them sleep in subways and tunnels.
But why can't you get together and figure it out? Are you suggesting the mayor wants higher crime in subways?
Well, look, this has been an ongoing discussion. Let me ask the interim president, who deals with it on a daily basis, what she thinks.
Well, I'm not sure I think you're suggesting it's either a political argument or a policy argument, and I think the reality is there are not very many people at this point who believe or suggest that this is not what's needed at this moment. The mayor has said he doesn't think additional policing is necessary, and the vast majority of our customers, and certainly our leadership, and certainly our customers who we hear from, are saying they absolutely want a more significant police presence, a uniformed presence, and mental health resources. And I think if you ride the system on a regular basis, if you're in the system day and night, like so many of us are, it's not really up for debate. It feels very clear that we don't have the sufficient resources in the system that we need.
So you don't think getting in a room, sitting down, and trying to figure it out to get on the same
Oh,
page would have helped.
I have done that. I mean, I have reached out repeatedly, and Pat has, of course, as well. We have reached out repeatedly to City Hall, and they engage. I mean, look, we have weekly calls with City Hall. I have ongoing conversations with staff. I've certainly offered to talk to the mayor and brief the mayor on any number of occasions over the last year as I've been serving as interim president. And look, we get a response. There's a back and forth between us and the staff, but I think there's just a fundamental, issue where the mayor is not necessarily in touch with our ridership. I just don't think he has his finger on the pulse of our ridership right now, and I think that I do, and we survey our customers frequently, every couple of months. There's overwhelming support for this. It's not just a couple of voices. And, my obligation and responsibility is to be responsive to our customers and to riders. But also keep your eye on the prize, right? There's a bigger issue here, which is, as the governor said, I don't think New York comes back unless the transit system comes back. And so you've got to get people into the transit system in order to get back to the city and back to the economy. And so we have said repeatedly, this is not about a 5-year commitment or some 10-year commitment of resources. This is about the mayor understanding that we need a 3 to 6 month shot in the arm to get people comfortable with coming back. And frankly, I would love to see this debated, by the mayoral candidates a little bit more, because it's going to go beyond this mayor, and it's going to be about the next person who comes up and what kind of resources they can commit to this, because this is going to be with us for a bit, and it needs to be, we've got to do better on the mental health resources and the uniformed presence in the system.
So, Governor.
Well, excuse me one second. What were the numbers again of what the number of police in the system? Roughly, do you remember?
So the NYPD. So back when the NYPD took over transit policing in the mid-90s, the number of NYPD officers, Transit Bureau NYPD officers, was about 4,300. It is now significantly down from that. We think probably about 2,000. We don't have a solid number. We don't have deployment information in a solid number because that information isn't shared with us by City Hall. And so, if you assume that number is about 2,000, and then remember the city surged additional resources into the system following the stabbings in February, which got us to about 2,600. So that's 2,600 uniformed police over a 600 and some mile system, 473 stations, 12 districts. If you remember that these officers work in teams of 2, and that you lose an automatic, 15 to 20% of officers presumably every day for sick leave or vacation or court appearances or whatever else, the numbers dwindle quickly. And so, I think it's important to just do the math on how many uniformed officers we've actually got in the system on any given day. And it's important information. Frankly, it would be really useful for it to be shared with us so that we can make some of our own decisions better on MTA policing and deployment.
Yeah, also don't minimize the difference of opinion on this issue. I proposed hiring 500 more MTA police officers because the city wouldn't provide more NYPD. There was a vociferous opposition to hiring more police. The proposition of more police in the subway system is opposed by many, right? You have many people saying, defund the police. We shouldn't be spending all this money on police. So don't minimize the opposition to this idea that you need more police in the system. You have a theory that says we need less police, which is the defund the police measure. So that is very real, and that's real. And that when I hired the additional MTA police officers, there was tremendous blowback. So it is a real issue to grapple with, and I think Sarah's exactly right. In this mayoral discussion, next mayor, what's your plan for making the subway safe? How many police will you commit to the subways? And for the next mayor, that's going to be a threshold issue. Are you with the Defund the Police? Or are you with the people who believe we need more police? And then it's not just the subways, right? You have the same problem on the street level. It's not just crime in the subways, it's crime in the city. And I think that should be a top topic in this mayoral debate. What are you going to do about crime? What are you going to do about crime in the cities? What do you think the solution is? Well, it's comprehensive, it's holistic. We need more intervention services, it's education, it's jobs, it's economic. Yes, I know. And how do we stop the killings? And remember, it is the black and brown community that is paying the highest price for increased crime. That topic should be first and foremost. And it's not about sitting down and having a chat. We've had this chat for years. Sarah has it, Pat has had it for years. It's been an ongoing debate, and they're two very different schools. I've had this conversation with the mayor dozens of times.
So there's no value to the two of you trying to figure this out together.
We have discussed it many of times. They're two different schools of thought. You want to say, oh no, which do you think is the no-brainer? Is it a no-brainer to put more police? Or is it a no-brainer to say defund the police? You know, they're both legitimate schools of thought. Question? Sarah, Pat, or John? You've exhausted them with your comprehensive presentation. Thank you guys very much for being here. I'm going to stay behind.